Today I'm replacing the battery of a 13-inch 2017 MacBook Air. Let's take a look at what the battery diagnostics say. So as you guys can see, when I go into the battery section of system preferences or settings, it says that there's an important battery message that the battery's capacity is significantly reduced, and to restore capacity, we need to please check our service options. So I've actually purchased a new battery from iFIXIT. I've replaced batteries in MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros before. I usually get it from iFIXIT. I've got the new battery sitting over there. I also have this little iFIXIT repair kit that I purchased years ago. It also came with this static electricity grounding mat, just to make sure that I'm not frying any part of the computer while I'm doing it. On my other computer, I have the iFIXIT guide pulled up for exchanging the battery in a MacBook Air 13-inch 2017. Let's go ahead and let's get this workstation a little more set up, and we'll switch our camera and get started. Let's go ahead and shut the computer down and unplug it. That's important. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to remove the back plate right here, and there are 10 screws. You can see there's 4 here, 5, 6, 4 more is 10. We need to remove all of those. It has a star connection. To get all these screws out, you're gonna wanna use a P5 Pentalobe driver. So let's go ahead and get all of those screws removed. It's important to make sure we're keeping the screws in a certain kind of order, maybe off to the side, so that we know which screws go where. You can see we have a long screw in the back, so I want to make sure that I remember that. That one goes there, and another long one as well. So we'll put that over there. And we know that those go in the middle on the back. Okay, so now to get the case off, we're just going to pull back lightly right here at the back. You can see that back case comes off, and we've got a bit of a dirty computer here. And if you look at this battery, I'm not sure if you can see in the camera, but this cell right here is definitely bulging. I think I'm just going to spray out the back of this computer a little bit to clean it up, and maybe even do a little bit of brushing. I'm gonna make sure I don't blow my screws away, so I'm gonna cover those. And I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a dusting here. I'm just gonna grab a little brush as well and give it a brush, potentially increasing the lifespan of the computer, especially if we were to find anything really nasty in here. I'm not gonna worry too much about the battery since we're taking that out. Okay, so now we're actually going to disconnect the battery. We're going to do that by grabbing on this tag right here, and we're just going to pull it parallel towards the front edge of the Air. So I'm just going to use a little black stick. It's what they use in the Apple store. Not going to have, it's plastic, so it doesn't have any static electricity. So we'll just kind of get this tab up here. We're gonna pull it back towards the front. I've now detached the battery right there. So now there's actually 5 screws that we need to remove. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one's right here in the middle. And those are going to be the same star connection, but we want to keep our screws separate. So let's go ahead and let's use our screwdriver again. Now this one is smaller, so I want to remember I'm going to put these kind of in the diagram that they were in there. So this is important. So let's remember, this is really important, and maybe it'll help you that I have it on video. It might help me that I have it on video. If you're doing this yourself and you weren't watching a video, you may want to take a picture of the keyboard or the computer as you're taking it apart, so you know where all the screws go and where everything was. And then I'm assuming this one will be another smaller screw. So those top 3 are the longer screws for the battery casing, and we've got the smaller screws at the bottom. So now we're just going to remove the battery. So we're going to try and get in here close to the logic board right there, and we'll just pull it out, and you can see sure if you can see, it's not bulging. I've seen batteries bulge a lot more than this, okay? This one's not too bad. In fact, the trackpad on this MacBook Air was still working. If you get a really bad battery, it's going to make it so that your trackpad doesn't work, or is clicking by itself, or is not right-clicking. You'll get a bunch of trackpad errors. So if you're having some trackpad issues on your MacBook Pro or MacBook Air, understand that that might not be an issue with the trackpad. It's the battery bulging and pushing into the trackpad. And that's what happened on my MacBook Pro the first time I replaced the battery on that one. And so now we're just going to take our new battery. We're going to remove this plastic casing on top, and we're essentially just going to do things in the reverse order now. So we want the battery to go in this direction, because this, remember, attaches to the logic board right there. So we'll go ahead and we'll set this in the case, trying to line up the screw holes there. You can see that that's down. Now before we plug it back in, we want to screw it back in. So I'm going to do these two small screws first so I can get them out of the way. They were the bottom right and left corner. And I'm going to put those kind of loosely to start, and then we'll kind of tighten a little bit here as we finish up and get all of the screws in. So now I'll just go tighten them up a little bit here. And it feels like I could have used a little bit of a different sized screwdriver for these screws. So I'm kind of, it seems like I'm stripping them a little bit. If I felt like I was really stripping them, I would definitely switch my screwdriver, because if we need to replace this battery again, if we have stripped screws, we're in trouble. So be careful with stripping the screws, make sure you're using the right size. And so I've got all those in there pretty tightly. So now we're actually going to reattach the battery to the logic board right here. Now if you remember, we pulled straight back towards us, so I'm just going to grab this tab. I'm going to pull it back a little bit here, and we'll push it forward. And you can see that our battery is now properly attached. So now it's time to reattach the faceplate, and I'm going to clean this a little bit too. As you can see, this is pretty dirty. I'm going to give it some dust, a brush, maybe even a microfiber towel. All right, doesn't have to be perfect. So now, to get this back on, we're going to start just a line here kind of at the front edge. Put it down nice and flat. Get any hair out of here. And now remember, these two have the long screws. I don't want to get confused, so let's start with those and get those long screws in there. Again, we don't want to strip our screws. You do want to get it pretty tight, but we'll start kind of lightly, and then as we get more screws in, we'll go around and tighten everything up at the end. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and flip it over, and what we want to do is we want to plug it in. We want to give this a full 100% charge, then unplug it and use it normally to drain the battery. Once you see the low battery warning, save whatever you're doing, but keep it on until it actually goes to sleep due to low battery, and then wait for at least like 5 hours. You want that battery completely 100% dead, so leave it on overnight, and then go ahead and charge it uninterrupted to 100%, and your battery should be calibrated. So let's go ahead and let's get it plugged in. You can see that the light has turned on. Let's go ahead and open it up. All right, we are into the computer. Let's give it a second to boot up. So the battery says that it's charging. It's currently at 10%, but we no longer have that exclamation mark message saying that we have a bad battery. So again, we want to wait until about 2 hours and 39 minutes so that we can get it to 100%. Then we're going to leave it plugged in for another couple hours. Then we will unplug it and we'll just let it die. We can keep the displays turned on and just let it die. Leave it overnight, let it keep dying, then plug it in the next morning, charge it to 100%, and from there you should be good to go, not have to worry about unplugging and plugging back in and all that. And so that's how you can replace the battery of a 2017 13-inch MacBook Air. I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, I would really appreciate it. And hey, if you want to learn how to install macOS Sonoma on these old Macs that are no longer supported for software updates, check out this video right here as I show you in under 10 minutes how to install an unsupported version of macOS Sonoma. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.